Happy Wednesday. And I know last time I recorded was last Wednesday. I am so sorry. You know, summer, kind of lazy, whatever. Anyway, I only have 49 days until I see my kiddos again. So that number has gotten a lot better. All right, and I want to thank my friends who joined me on Zoom this morning. Madison, Atalia, Santana, Mariah, Edwida, Hilla, Riley, Emilio, and Jesse. Emilio joined us from Mexico today, so that was pretty exciting. Okay, and we are on chapter 8, quite frankly. Oh, they just decided to name the little dinosaur Uncle Beasley after their mom's uncle. Chapter 8. It wasn't long after breakfast the next morning when there was a loud knock on the front door. I went to answer it. There was a tall, thin man standing there with a kind of small suitcase. He looked sort of annoyed. "Dr. Zemer in?" "No," I said. "He doesn't live here." "Well, where does he live? This is Walter Twitchell's house, isn't it?" "Yes, but Dr. Zemer doesn't live here. He's staying at the McPhersons'." "McPhersons? Where the devil is that?" I pointed down the road to the right. "Well, you go down that road about a half mile until you come to the forks. You take the right-hand road there. I mean the one that goes sharp right. The middle road takes you over to Kezar Falls. Then follow that road for a ways, and pretty soon you'll come to a sharp curve where there's a barway and a stone wall, but the bars are all down because they don't keep cows in there anymore." "Oh, they don't, huh?" the tall man said. "Isn't that fascinating now?" I thought he sounded kind of impatient. "Well, no, not anymore," I said. "It's all grown up to pine and blackberry bushes now. But anyway, just beyond that curve, there's a road off to the side with a sign on a tree that says Saunders, but you can't really read it very well because the paint's all faded. Mr. Saunders used to own that land down there, but he sold it all to the summer people 2 or 3 years ago. And a little ways beyond that road, you come to another road that—" "For Pete's sake," the man spluttered. "This road and that road and signs I can't read and cows that aren't there. You've got me all mixed up. If I went down there in that wilderness, I'd be so lost even the FBI couldn't find me. I'll just bet this is some dumb trick of Zemer's. I suspected something right from the start. If he doesn't live here, why did he tell me to come to this house?" And then it dawned on me. "Oh, you wouldn't be Dr. Kennedy?" I asked him. "Sure, I'm Kennedy, and a first-class fool, too, for listening to that practical joker." "Oh, he wasn't joking," I said. "We really do have a dinosaur. It just hatched out yesterday morning." And this is Dr. Zemer. Wait, no, Dr. Kennedy, sorry. And he's cranky. "How do you know it's a dinosaur? Who told you?" "Dr. Zemer did." Dr. Kennedy scowled. "Just as I thought. What's the matter up here in New Hampshire? Don't people know that dinosaurs died out 60 million years ago?" He put his suitcase down on the porch floor. "Well, don't just stand there. Show me this animal of yours, whatever it is. I might as well look at it after coming all this way." We had just started down the porch steps when a car stopped in front of the house. Dr. Zemer got out. When he saw Dr. Kennedy, he smiled and waved his hand. "Hello, Kennedy. You made good time. How'd you get here so soon?" "So soon? Good grief. I've been traveling all over New England trying to get to this place. I took a plane to Portsmouth and a train from there to someplace in the middle of nowhere. And then I got a ride on a bread truck to some other abandoned place and walked from there to here. And by golly, Zemer, if this is another of your professional jokes, I swear I'll skin you and stuff you and put you in a museum on exhibit as an ape." "All right, old man, just cool down," Dr. Zemer said. "Let us show you the dinosaur and then you'll be convinced. After that, you can have some breakfast and you'll feel better." I led the way out to the chicken yard and into Uncle Beasley's pen. The chickens were scratching around nearby and they cocked their heads at us. "There," Dr. Zemer said. "Now maybe you'll believe me. Just bend down and look into that box there and see for yourself. Probably the only living dinosaur ever seen by man. One of the most remarkable happenings known to science." Dr. Kennedy gave him a look. And then he bent way over. He was awfully tall, and he had a hard time getting his head down that far. I'm kind of picturing a giraffe trying to get that far down. He looked into the box. Dr. Zemer waited for a while for the sight to sink in, and then he said, "Well?" "Well, what?" Dr. Kennedy said. "I don't see anything in here. It's an empty box." "What?" we both said at once. We got down and looked in. Sure enough, it was empty. "Oh, good heavens," the doctor said. "He's gotten out. Quick, we've got to find him." He ran around the pen, looking this way and that. Dr. Kennedy slowly stood up straight, put his hands on his hips. He began to look pretty mad. "Zemer," he said, "I suspected all along that you—" Cut it out, Kennedy, said Dr. Zemer. Can't you see we're not fooling? This is no joke, I tell you. Help us find the little thing before he gets away. We can't lose him. It would be a terrible loss to science. I looked across the chicken coop, and just at that moment I happened to notice a chicken standing by the fence. She was tilting her head to one side, the way hens do when they see something new. And then, while I was watching, she slipped through the fence and started pecking at some grass outside. I went over, and I looked at the fence. There was a place where two sections met that had been pushed apart, and it left a space big enough for a chicken to get through. I showed it to Dr. Zemer. I see, he said. He probably crawled under his own pen and pushed right through here. He wanted some grass, no doubt. We'll have to hunt for him in that long grass. You run into the house and get your sister to help us, and I'll start looking right away. I dashed into the house. Cynthia was doing the breakfast dishes. Mom was rolling out pie crust. Why, Nate, where have you been? Mom wanted to know. Dr. Kennedy's come, I said, and we went out to show him the dinosaur and he was gone. He must have slipped through the fence, and we're looking for him in the deep grass, and we've got to find him before he gets away. You're looking for Dr. Kennedy? Mom said, kind of astonished. Well, he just got here, didn't he? No, not Dr. Kennedy. Uncle Beasley. And it would be terrible if we couldn't find him. Pop came in from the other room. Come on, Cynthia, he said. Let's go help. We all streamed out of the house, and when I looked back, there was Mom coming too. She had a long-handled mop. We all went back and forth through the grass patch, but no Uncle Beasley. Then we went into the goats' pasture and looked around there. The grass was pretty short in there, but we didn't see a sign of Uncle Beasley anywhere. I was poking along the fence in back of the Mrs. McPherson's house. No, that's totally wrong. Mrs. Parsons' house, where she has some flower beds. Oh, good morning, Nate, Mrs. Parsons said. What are all you folks looking for out there anyway? And you've got company, too. I never saw such carryings on. The goat get out? She was cutting some flowers with a big pair of scissors. And here is everybody looking in the pasture. That'd be really hard to find in that tall grass. No, ma'am, I said. It isn't the goat. She's right over there in the lot. Well, then what is it? You don't have to be so mysterious about it, do you? Well, the fact is we've lost a little animal. What kind of an animal? My gracious, you're being awfully close about it. Is it a cat? I figured I might as well tell her, but I wasn't sure how she would take it. No, ma'am, I said. It's not a cat. It's a small dinosaur. Mrs. Parsons straightened up and gave me a funny look, and then she started to smile. My land, Nate, how you talk. I didn't know you meant a toy animal. I thought you were looking for a live one. Oh, to hear the boy talk. I'm looking for a small dinosaur, he says. While she was talking, I saw something move in among the gladioli. That's a flower. I kept my eye on it. Pretty soon, a little head stuck out. It was Uncle Beasley, all right, and he was chewing happily on a gladiola stalk as if it was the best thing he had ever tasted. Mrs. Parsons hadn't noticed anything yet, and she was still going on talking. Ha, 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 Mrs. Parsons laughed. When you said you were looking for a small dinosaur, you gave me quite a turn for a moment because I thought you... Mercy, what's that? I slipped over the fence in a flash and picked up Uncle Beasley. He was still chewing on the flower stalk, just as if nothing had happened at all. Mrs. Parsons backed away a ways and pointed her finger at Uncle Beasley. Take it away, she shouted. Take it away this minute. He's eating my gladioli. I guess everyone heard all the racket. They came running across the field, and Dr. Zemer was all smiles. He was so glad we'd found the dinosaur again, and Pop was apologizing to Mrs. Parsons. She was pretty nice about it and said that he'd only taken one of her gladioli, and that was a yellow one that she didn't care for much anyway. She'd always been interested in dinosaurs, she said. She used to read about them when she was a little girl, but she hadn't supposed they ever came that small. That's a real little one you've got there, she said. Kind of cute, isn't it? But she didn't offer to come any closer, I noticed. Well, all this while, Dr. Kennedy had just been standing there with his mouth open, staring at Uncle Beasley. Then he opened and shut his mouth a few times, but he couldn't seem to say anything. Finally, he grabbed Dr. Zemer by the arm, pointed at the dinosaur, and said in a kind of strangling voice, Great Scott, Zemer! You were right! It is! He turned as white as a sheet and grabbed a hold of the fence to steady himself. And here he is. mean, let's face it. If you really, really, really saw a dinosaur, you really, really, really would look like that. Well, they finally got Mrs. Parsons quieted down, and Dr. Zemer introduced Dr. Kennedy to everyone, and Pop introduced Dr. Zemer to Mrs. Parsons, and after everything was all straightened out, we took Uncle Beasley back to his pen. We drove in some stakes to hold the wire down tight so he wouldn't get out again. Mom went in to get some breakfast for Dr. Kennedy, and Dr. Zemer began telling Dr. Kennedy all about the egg and how large it was. "Nate," he said all at once, "I think your dinosaur has grown. Surely he wasn't that big yesterday, was he?" He got out the scales and his tape measure. I put Uncle Beasley on the scales, but he didn't seem to fit on them as well as before. 7 pounds? Dr. Zemer said. That's more than twice what he weighed yesterday. He's doubled his weight in 24 hours. Think of it, Kennedy. And here's little Uncle Beasley with his gladioli in his mouth. Isn't he cute? I mean, cute as you can get for a dinosaur, right? I am thinking of it. I sure wish I could say the same for myself. I'm about starved. Do you suppose breakfast is ready? Oh, I'd forgotten all about it. Nate, why don't you take Kennedy into breakfast and see that he doesn't eat too many biscuits, even if you have to take a few yourself. I'll finish these measurements while you're eating. That sounded like a good idea to me. It was almost 10 o'clock in the morning now, and I hadn't eaten a thing since breakfast. Okay, I usually eat breakfast at 10. I mean now. But when you're working on a farm, you get up early. 5 o'clock. You eat breakfast then. So that's the end of chapter 8. And I'm going to try to be better about reading more than once a week. I'm sorry, my bad. I do miss you guys, but we're getting closer and closer to, what do you call it? Getting back to school. So that's good. We'll be able to see each other again in person. Hope, fingers crossed. Okay, I love you guys. Have a great day. And I will hopefully see you sooner than a week from now. Bye.